Are you thinking about going to an NFL international game in 2025? If so, I went to the one in Munich in 2024, and let me tell you, it was an experience. But was it worth it? That's what we're diving into today, so stay tuned. From the cost of plane tickets, tickets for your seats, hotels, and everything in between, food, the cost of transportation, it's going to cost you a lot of money, so you really got to make sure that it's worth it for you to go to one of these games this year. So here is what you need to know before you grab your passport and book that ticket. And just for context, guys, I'm recording this right before the official release of the 2025 NFL schedule. Today it is May 11th. The international games release on the 13th. The full schedule releases on the 14th. Now, we've already seen leaks of these international games, but I wanted to get this out before the official release, just in case something surprises us and pops up. So this is the perfect time to start planning your trip if you're going to go to one of these games. All right, guys, so let's start by talking about the experience. So the Munich game I went to in 2024 was the Panthers versus the Giants. And as you know, last year those were two of the worst teams in the NFL. So pre-game, we're walking up to the stadium, and there was a ton of Giants fans actually. I was a little surprised, but it was so cool to see all the fans wearing their different jerseys for different teams, international jerseys, soccer or football jerseys, as they say in Europe. And around the outside of the stadium, they had big helmets of each team. So you could go take pictures with the helmet, and I'll post a picture of it, but you could actually get up inside the helmet. It was pretty cool. And then they had some things around the stadium where you could take pictures with the stadium in the background behind you. And it said NFL Munich or NFL International Game 2025 or 2024 Munich, sorry. So that was pretty cool experience. No real tailgating though, like you would get in the States. So that was a little different. And then during the game, the atmosphere was good. You had people cheering all the time pretty much because it's fans of not really either of the teams. And you will not be getting the experience like a true home or away game in the States because there's so many different fans from different teams. You're not going to get those crazy loud third downs, or it's not going to get crazy when one team scores a touchdown but not the other, things like that. But I will say the atmosphere, because when they start playing those American songs during the commercial breaks, it's just truly a once in a lifetime experience. Country Roads is going to be played and everyone's going to pop off. That was cool. Another cool thing about the experience and the atmosphere was right before the game, they had given everyone the cardboard cutouts, and it was just red or blue or, orange or something like that, right? So you didn't really know. But they said, oh, before the game, they'll put something on the screen and raise up your cardboard piece. And so once that happened, everyone raised their cardboard piece, and the whole stadium, half the stadium was the US flag, half the stadium was the German flag. And then I believe part of it said NFL. So that was really cool experience to see something that, I don't know, it was just insane because it was the whole stadium, not just one little section. So I did love that part of the experience as well. Now, if anybody is wondering about the concessions at these games, you're not going to get your typical American things that you would get. Bud Light, a hot dog, those type of things. You're not getting them at these international games, depending where you're at, right? So our game was in Munich, so they were serving German beer, which best beer in the world, if I must say so myself. They were serving pretzels, bratwurst, so it was all like the traditional German things you would get at a game in Germany. So I thought that was a pretty cool experience, especially if you're coming from the States. That would be a little different for you. All right, let's talk about the costs. I know this is the most important topic for most people, right? Because wherever you're coming from, you're probably getting international flights. You're going to have to pay for the tickets to the stadium, to the game, right? You're going to have to pay for a hotel for however long you're there, food. And another thing you got to take into account for is the currency conversion to wherever you're going. So if you're coming from the States, you're going to be changing from the US dollar to the euro. And it's not a one-to-one transfer, right? So the euro right now, at least, is more expensive than the dollar. So let's say you're spending 100 euros for your ticket. That's going to convert. I don't have a calculator up right now, but we'll say 112, 115 US dollars. So that's something you really got to keep in mind, because you may be like, oh, I'm all in at $1,000, right? No, it's actually going to be like 1150 once you do the currency conversion. So something you should think about. But it really is going to depend how long you go on this trip. I personally would recommend making it into a little bit of a longer trip and exploring the place that you're visiting. If you're going to the Dublin game, go a couple days early, explore the city, get out, see things, do things with the people. They have local fan meetups before these games, so go meet some of those local fans. It's a cool experience. I would definitely do that if I were you. But that's one thing you got to take into account, is this is going to be a very expensive trip for you. So if your team is playing, it might be worth it, but if they're not, it might not. It's going to be pretty much like a real vacation. So if you're a dedicated NFL fan, it might be easy to say, yep, let's go. But if not, you might want to take that into account. Now, in my experience, right, the tickets to the game dropped 2 weeks prior to the game starting, because the locals that got tickets or whoever, they were trying to resell them because they actually didn't want to go to the game. So I only went because the tickets dropped very crazily right before the game, or else I wasn't going to go. Because if you try to get those tickets right when they release, they're going to be very expensive. So that's something you might not be able to do, because I live close by, so I was able to do that. But just something to keep in mind. And then also remember, all the hotels and things like that by the stadium, they're going to jack prices up. One of my friends is going to the Madrid game, and he said this past week, prices shot up before they even released who the Dolphins are playing in that game. So that's something to keep in mind as well. All right, guys, now let's talk about the game itself. So like I said, Munich 2024, Panthers versus Giants, two of the worst teams in the NFL. So can you expect to be watching really high quality football at these games? It really just depends on the matchup. The past couple of years, they haven't been really giving as good of matchups as they were at first with these international games. So that's going to depend on the schedule release, right? But luckily, we actually got a couple touchdowns, and our game came down to to a final drive to win the game. So that was cool for us. We got a little lucky. I believe it went to overtime, actually. So we got lucky, all right, with those two teams. So that's definitely going to be something that depends on the game you're going to. But with that being said, one of the cool things is they sell exclusive merch at these games, right? So wherever you go, we went to Munich, they were selling just things that you could just get at this game. And I'm sure you could get them on eBay afterward, maybe even the NFL shop. But let me show you the shirt I got at this game. So they have things like that at this game. They also have just single team apparel. So if your team's the Giants or whatever, they had NFL Munich Giants stuff. So that's pretty cool if your team is playing and you want to go to one of these games. That's a nice perk that you get to take home with you if you buy one of those. And then also the NFL does try to pull out all stops for these games, right? They are trying to grow their international audience. And so they had Machine Gun Kelly as the halftime performer at our game. Whether you like him or not, he's still a big time artist, right? And it was very unfortunate for us because he came out and he played for like 3 minutes. He did like a song and a half and dipped. It was terrible. I felt bad for everyone that probably just went to that game to see him. I bet there were people that did that. So they were definitely disappointed. But you can tell the NFL tries to go all out for these games. So that's something you can expect. So, to answer the question, is it worth it? In my opinion, if your team is playing in one of these games, 100% worth it. Take the trip. You're going to have a blast. You're going to get to meet all of your international fans that are of your same team. Great experience. You're all going to be cheering together. It's going to be fun. You're going to be exploring a new city. Hopefully you get to go to one of the meetups with the fans before the games. 100% worth it if your team's playing. Now, if your team is not playing, I don't think I can recommend it unless you're making it a trip outside of just the game, right? So let's say you want to go to the Dublin game, for example. If you're going there because you want to explore Dublin, you want to go to, do whatever there is to do in Dublin, and you're going to go to the game, sure, definitely worth it at that point. Still going to be very expensive, more expensive than just your trip to Dublin and the price hikes that I was talking about. But if you're going to do that, sure, it is worth it. If you're a fan from an international place that has a game in your city and it may not be your team, still worth it, right? You're already there. You're not paying anything extra just to go to the game. You're buying your tickets. That's it. You should definitely go for sure. But for anyone international trying to go to the game, it's really up to you. How big are your pockets, right? But those are my thoughts. If I had a tip, highly recommend just checking out the city, explore, get out there. On our channel here, we're all about travel. So, of course, if we get a chance to go to a game, we're definitely going to go and have a blast. We're still holding out, as you can see, 49ers. We have a chance to play the Browns. It's been leaked that they're not playing, but I'm praying that we get that game against the Browns in London. I'll be there. But thank you guys for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe if you learned something new. And if you guys like travel content, that's what I do here on this channel. Me and my wife travel the world. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.